Plays with Cars YouTube channel and an introduction of Project Boost Wagon. Now, we've done some videos already on Boost Wagon. This is actually our second one. So, long story short, we had a 2013 Ford Flex EcoBoost all-wheel drive. That is a 365 horsepower, 3.5 liter V6, twin turbos, Ford-driven wheels. The thing was awesome. There was a little flash flood here in the neighborhood. It got water into the electrics and it was just done for. There was a bunch of stuff I didn't like about the electrics in the facelifted model, which is what the 2013 was, so we replaced it with this. This is a 2012 Ford Flex EcoBoost all-wheel drive. It's only 355 horsepower. We're going to fix that. More on that later. But otherwise, it is virtually identical. The chassis under these shares a lot of parts with a whole bunch of things, like even Volvo XC90s, Ford Explorers, Tauruses, all sorts of crazy stuff. But this is the station wagon version. This is the Ford Flex. So it's long, it's low, holds 6 to 7 people. This particular one is a 6-seater. You can see we got kiddo seats in the back, but the coolest part is this is a refrigerator, like a legit actual refrigerator in the center console. There's all sorts of other cool stuff, built-in DVD players, panoramic skylight roofs, and all sorts of what's-its, which we will get into in a full Doug DeMuro version, quirks and features type video. This is not that video. This is just straight up an intro. I filmed a bunch of stuff to intro the original one way back when we had it. Some of that footage got lost, some of the footage just wasn't very good, and now that the car's gone, I can't really do it. I will try to dig through that and pull up some of the bits of it for the review video of this one to kind of show you the differences between the early and later version of the Flexes. Drivetrain wise, all you need to know is they are pretty much the same. There's little tiny parts differences in tuning and things like that, but the actual chassis is the same, the engine is the same, the transmission is the same. So if you're just looking for drivetrain, you want to do yourself a Boost Wagon too, any of them will work. The big thing is this is what you want. The EcoBoost, EcoBoost, I don't care how you pronounce it. It is Ford's 3.5 liter V6. It shares parts with the Ford GT supercar. I think like the block and crank are the same or something like that. But anyways, twin turbos. You can see there's one of them down there, tiny little guy. There's another one on that side. And this particular one pumps out 355 horsepower. It goes up to 365 in the 2013 and newers. Doesn't seem to be any really hard part changes. I think it's all in computer tuning, which is something you could take care of on your own with the tuner. So, what are we doing with it? What's our goal for it? Why is it on the channel? Well, it's on the channel because it's cool. If you followed us for any length of time, you know that our previous daily driver was a Mazda 5 that was also all blacked out. That was lowered on crazy suspension and coilovers and wide wheels and tires and racing brakes, and had a lot of fun with that. We just outgrew it. Kids got bigger, needed the next step up. This is that next step up. Now, I love minivans. I'd have done a Odyssey or something cool like that, but the idea of a twin turbo, all-wheel drive, 355 horsepower wagon that holds 4 car seats, like full size. These kids are adult sized, you know what I mean? With room to spare is pretty cool. So that's why we went with this. What we're going to do with it is, obviously, drive it every day. Maybe even use it to tow a couple of things. But we're going to try to drag race this thing and see just how fast we can get it to go. It's supposed to do bottom 14 stone stock. This thing, like as it sits, should do 14.1, 14.2, somewhere in that range. I want to try to get this thing into the 12s. Just because I think that's hilarious, and that's what we're going to do here, is a bunch of performance stuff. So expect to see lots of this as we work on the motor and do performance things to it. Appearance-wise, this particular one is a titanium package, which already has like that cool blacked-out grille and the chrome 20s and all that stuff. I'm probably not going to do anything to it because it already looks really, really rad. I'd love to airbag it, but I don't know anybody that makes an airbag setup for it. If you do, throw it up in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. But other than that, this thing's pretty much set appearance-wise. So if you're here for appearance mods, probably not the one for you. If you are here for performance stuff, we got your number. So first things first, this thing's got some pretty crappy tires on it. They're Toyo Proxys ST2s. They have no grip. They're worn out. And I just, as a general, don't like Toyos. So I am going to replace those with something more performance-y. But the first modification we're going to do here to the engine is actually for the air filter and air intake system. And the reason for that is As you can see by the lack of plates and stuff, I just picked this thing up. And this air filter is trash. If I can get this out of here one-handed. There we go. So I can show you what I'm on about. This was what the shop called passed. This is good, right? That's trashed. So since I had to replace that anyway, I went with this. This is the Roush Cold Air Intake system for the Ford Flex and other 3.5 liter EcoBoost cars. You can see air is going to go in there. There's going to be a big filter that sits in this thing, which lives in this box right here. And this thing is wild. There's the outlet side. You can see it's like an ovular shape. So we are going to put that all together here in the Flexi and make it go faster. So all of this stuff has to go out. So I'm going to go grab some tools and get cranking on it. So hold on. Alright, so that's the old air box out. There's the pieces there. It's super easy. There's a couple of bolts with some 8mm heads there and there. A couple of hose clamps. No big deal to take that out. Now, one thing to watch out for is this negative battery cable that you see there can get turned. Let's see, it is this one right here. Can get turned to where it's on like the corner or this side of the battery, and it kind of needs to be flat against this side. So I need to kind of loosen this up and rotate this whole thing like this so that this is out of the way. Other than that, pretty clear in here. This is your automatic transmission fluid fill, and that's your shift cable there. So make sure this clip is in good shape. There's a good chance, good time to check your fluid and all that stuff if now it's time to do it. But anyways, we got this air box out and ready. Now, this is a true cold air intake. Putting just a cone filter on your air intake tube is a hot air intake. You're going to take all this hot air in the engine bay and stick it in the filter, and that's going to suck. A real cold air intake has an outside air source right here. You can see this actually comes through the grill here. It goes through these side things. There's factory ducting to right here. Goes into there, goes into the air box. And then this air box is sealed from the engine bay. When this is all inputted, which you'll see when it's done, down into this space, there's a seal right here that goes on it that seals the top of it up against the hood. And then that's that. No outside air whatsoever. Everything is coming in through that, or no, engine bay air, excuse me. You just get the outside air coming into it. This is all sealed off against the engine bay. Now, the big thing here is heat. You're trying to fight heat. You want the coldest air into the motor as possible because, if you remember from high school science, the colder the air, the denser the charge. Basically, the hotter you heat up a gas, the less amount of molecules are in it. And so if you want more oxygen molecules to burn, you need colder, denser air. So one of the things to do is also insulate this. So this is some heat reflective insulating tape. This will help reflect engine bay heat so that this piece doesn't absorb the heat and get hot. And this is real deal stuff from Summit. I got a whole roll of it here. There's your part number, gold heat shield. DEI makes a higher quality version. Some of the stuff works okay. The big difference, the reflectivity seems to be the same. The DEI kind of sticks a little better. So if you're looking for a nicer, cleaner look, the DEI is a little bit better. But anyways, we got some heat insulation tape there on our air box, and ideally we would insulate a lot of the things, which we will here in the engine bay. These intercooler charge pipes, clean those up and put insulating tape on those. Same thing with the one here and the throttle body. Try to keep all this engine bay heat out of the charge pipes. I mean, what's the point of intercooling all of the air coming from the turbochargers if you're just going to heat it up? So first things first though, we are doing this install. This thing is ready to go. Pretty simple. This hose right here goes into that air tube. This thing next down in there. It's kind of a pain in the butt to do one-handed or on camera, but basically like that. But I'm going to have this hooked up to the hose. I'm going to put it all together and come at you when we're done. But I wanted to give you an update of what things look like all apart and talk about heat reflectivity. So I'm going to get the tools and keep working. We'll get that all in. Yeah, I know, it's a little racy, but I think it's kind of fun. We put the Roush emblem, came with a little emblem on the Flexi too. And there we are. We are done. Cold air intake. So you can see we've got air comes through here. There's this little trim panel here too, but yeah, air comes in the grill, goes in here into our nice sealed air box. You see we've got this nice rubber seal all the way around it that will seal it up here to the top of the hood. We've got our heat reflective tape on there. There's our air intake temp sender, and this is going to help us make some more power. So this should make up for that 10 horsepower difference between the 13 and the 12 here. Like I said, this one is 355, the 13 was 365. But we're going to go for a test drive. So yeah, we'll take the camera with us, and we'll see how it goes. But we won't be needing any of that anymore. We'll probably throw it in the shed though, because that's how I roll. Hold on to parts forever, even if I sell on the cars. But we are all buttoned up here. Cold air intake is installed from Roush, and let's go take it on a test drive. And we are back from the test drive. Everything worked great. You could hear a little bit more turbo whistle, which was pretty cool. And seat of the pants and the torque app through the AWD dongle say a little bit faster 0 to 60. So we'll see if it does anything. Unfortunately, I did not lay down a completely stock drag strip pass. So I don't have a whole lot of baseline to work from, but I don't really care. You can just look up the baseline online, whatever a stock EcoBoost Flex runs. We're going to assume that's our baseline. So if we get a chance to go to the track before the end of the season, we will run it like this and see how much we pick up. Otherwise, we're going to keep doing some other mods to it and see what we can do to get this baby to go fast and get into the 12s. But so far, so good. Really happy with this Roush intake. I know the air raid is very similar. I know that there's some knockoffs for less. I think it's worth the money to get this one. It really fit super, super nice. They gave you the heat shield. Not the tape, you got to buy the tape separate, but I mean they give you the little rubber heat shield thing here. It all holds on with factory bolts, which is super, super nice. Definitely well worth the money. And like I said, see the pants and using the torque app seems to make a little bit more power. And you can hear them turbo noises sing. So until next time, that's been the Plays with Cars YouTube channel, and